Welcome to the Tony Gaskins Show, best-selling author, celebrity life coach, and international speaker. The purpose of this show is to bring you motivation, inspiration, and education in the areas of life, love, and business. Thank you for joining me. Now let's get started. Thank you so much for joining me. Another Talks with Tony episode, answering some questions from those of you who write in. Remember, you can send your question into inbox@tonygaskins.com. This question is from a young man, I believe. Greetings, Mr. Gaskins. I've been following you for around 3 months now, and I must tell you that I've gotten a whole new outlook on life. I'm a 36-year-old black male that's recently divorced. Recently, a friend of mine texted me a young lady's number and encouraged me to call her because she felt that the young lady and I would make the perfect couple. I reached out to her and we really hit it off on the phone. Needless to say, she has all the qualities I prayed and asked God for my next wife to have. The only problem I have is physical attraction. I heard you say many times, like who likes you. And she seems very into me and I'm into her. I just want to know, how far does that rule go with physical attraction? And if I decide to move forward with her, how could I encourage her to make changes in her appearance? May God continue to bless you so you can keep blessing others. Love, your brother in Christ. 11/2017. Thank you, brother, for writing in. And man, that's a great question. That's a great question, powerful question. And so serious. And you know what? For me, I always say that, just kind of saying it because that's what my mom told me, her mom told her. So my grandmother would say, like who likes you, not who you like. And I'm not 100% sure, how I feel about it. But to me, what it says is that a lot of times we are seeking approval. We want certain people and we want them to look a certain way so that if they choose us, it makes us feel better about ourselves. We want someone who typically looks the opposite of how we feel we look. We want someone who we feel looks better than us because we can look up to them. It's an accomplishment. We want our relationship to have a sense of accomplishment in it, like we achieved something, we conquered something, we made it. When a lot of times you need to really date on your level. So sometimes we can look at a person and say that person isn't on my level, but in actuality, they are on your level. It's just that the level you think you're on, the level you're looking at, is the level you aspire to be on. So if you can like a person, if you can fall for a person, and if you like everything that they are and everything that they represent, and you can look at them without, having a little bit of throw up in your mouth, or having to look away every few seconds and having to pray to God, just for the strength to look them in the face, then that person can really grow on you. Now, once a person falls in love with you and they fall for you, then you have influence in their life and they can become a better looking person. Like, they can grow and change. I've always, up until my wife, dated looks challenged women. And something was challenging about their looks. And so it could have been, a nose out of place. It could have been lips, too big. Could have been teeth, hanging over. Could have been a struggle with their edges, with their hair, chin hairs. I mean, I kind of seen it all. And I dated those women because I didn't really look in the mirror. And that's how I felt about myself. I felt like these looks challenged women was the level that I was on. And then other women started to tell me, like, hey, man, you a waste of a man. You see what your girlfriend look like? And I'm like, no, what do you mean? I assume you would be with like a model type. So women were telling me that, you look good to me, Tony, but the woman you dating looked like, the side of a Mack truck. And so I was like, man, so, okay, so what's going on now? What's going on? But what I realized is that those women, because I didn't look at them, superficially, what I realized is that they had a good heart too. They were caring. They were um, good people. Now, what it sounds like from this young man is that this young lady isn't actually unattractive. She just may not dress the right way, may not wear her hair, the best as she could wear it, may not do her makeup correctly. So just like you said, can I help her change some things in her appearance? And the answer is yes. I remember having to, with my exes, kind of dress them up, go to the mall and find new clothes, kind of show them a new hairstyle. Like, hey, why don't you try this? And they tried, and guess what? They start to look better, start to look different. And so I've noticed even with my wife, who is naturally beautiful, it was different. She's naturally beautiful, but she didn't have the shape that I really desired. She didn't have the butt, me, being a butt man. She didn't have like a real butt that I would consider it, and we talk about this. But in our relationship, she started doing these squats. She started doing these squats, and she was squatting so much. She was working out with this little training group and building all this muscle. And so then as she started to put on some baby weight from our second child, the glutes had raised and she had built the muscle. So when it added some weight on top of it, man, I was around there lusting, left, right, and center, lusting, and just everything, it changed. So she really, over this almost 11 years of marriage, she grew into the body shape that I love and preferred. And life just kind of did it. And over time, we change. Over time, we grow into ourselves. So when I look back at her old pictures, I'm like, man, you look way better now. Like most people, you think when they get older, it gets worse, but she's even way more beautiful now than she was back then. And, I can't really judge myself, but I like my weight on me now than when I look back, look like I was, too slim. So I want you to think about that and realize that looks in the grand scheme of things really don't matter. Really don't matter because it's all about the heart. And to be honest with you is everybody's looks change. So your looks could go down over the next 5 to 10 years to where the people that you want wouldn't even want you. Or the person that you can get now, if their looks go up or their looks stay the same and yours go down, they could grow unattracted to you. So when looks becomes the motive or the goal, you could actually end up losing out on a relationship just because you had the wrong motives. And then you could get a person who looks decent, but with real love, love will make them want to take more time and attention to their appearance, and they could just have a glow up, as we hear it, phrased. They could have a glow up because they're just so in love that they want to work on their hair, work on their skin, work on their body, work on their teeth. And so things change. So I want you to think about this. And I've seen it happen, with several couples in several relationships. You have somebody who looks challenged and, struggle faced, and then they fall in love. And while they fall in love, they start to really work out, start putting some, butter and cream on their scalp, start working on their edges. They get to a place that they want to eat right. They're going to Whole Foods instead of to Aldi. And now, of course, Whole Foods costs more money, so they're working a little overtime. They're going back to school to finish their degree or get their master's so they can earn more money. And they start to glow up and change themselves and get better because they want to be fitting for the person that they love. So I'm telling you, I saw one guy turn a woman who was 280, took a woman from 280 to like 140. The woman went from 280 to being, insecure and not feeling good about herself to being like 130, 140 and competing in fitness competitions. And it was just all love that motivated her to get in the gym and to start working out. So I've seen it. So I say stick with it. If she has everything on the inside that you need, and men, we need to hear this more often because we're the worst at it. We're the worst at it. We're so judgmental. We're so picky. Women are that way too, but men, we just have this unrealistic view of what our woman should look like when we really don't meet that standard 9 out of 10 times for ourselves. Thank you so much for that question. Forgot to start my timer, but so I'm going to keep it to 2 questions. Next question, dating without sex. Hi, big brother. I know you have tons of things to do. I just wanted to ask, how do you date without bringing in the physical? This is going to be new for me. I've watched your videos. I just haven't seen one on this. I know it takes prayer. You have helped me so much. I just want to say thank you for sharing your knowledge. Hey, sister. Won't say your name just in case some of your friends, listening and they know you follow me. But I'll tell you this. You said you have to pray. And prayer, builds confidence. Prayer is faith. Prayer is asking for help. And one thing we hear in the good book, that faith without works is dead. So not only do you pray, but you have to work. And so what I mean by that is you have to be very logical, very practical, and you have to create boundaries. So if I didn't want to bring in the physical, and I'll say this from a male's perspective, what I would do is I would, in the courting phase, when we're first building, I would have the woman get her transportation, and I will take my transportation, and we meet in the parking lot of the restaurant. We meet in the parking lot of the restaurant. We meet, hey, how you doing? Give a hug. I may just peck her on the cheek. And then we go in, we eat. I'll pay for it unless my finances are strapped. Then we need to go Dutch. Ladies, y'all need to understand that too. You're independent when you're dating, not an interdependent. So you can't expect the man to pay for everything all the time. And if he doesn't want to pay, it doesn't necessarily mean he's not a good man. It could just mean that the way his bank account is set up, he can only afford his meal. And you wanted filet mignon, and he opted for the salad. So he eating on his budget. And so you need to take care of your budget. And so, but if he pays, let him pay. And then we'll go back out to our cars. And if we're going to the movies, then we'll drive to the movie theater and then we'll meet there. And see, the thing about this, people don't realize this, but what this does, unless you live somewhere to where you're taking the subway or whatever, okay, you take it together. But what this does is it gives you time to really just build up in your mind and really kind of fantasize about the love that you're building. And it makes it a lot easier to really build, and you build a lot faster because you don't have the physical. So a lot of the stuff has to be made up in your mind. And what you're doing is you're building on a foundation of friendship, which really is where love is made. See, love making is when you're building as friends. It's not the actual act of sex. It's not the physical acts. It is the emotional acts. It's the conversation. It's the quality time. And so then after you do that for 5-6 dates, then you may want to do a pickup situation to where the man, I pick up her, and then the next time she picks me up, and then we go, out to eat. Then we go to dinner or skating or bowling or walking around the park, and then we get dropped off. We don't go into one another's homes. So, and then if we go into one another's homes, like on the weekend, it's for brunch. We're doing breakfast in the morning, and then we're going to church, and then getting dropped off, we're going our separate ways. Nothing after dark. If you don't want to bring in the physical, nothing after dark. Your conversations, you don't want to really have conversations past the point of 10 p.m. And so when you put these things in place, what happens is it doesn't have the time. You don't have the time for the mind to really start to wander and get all lost in all these different places. And so now you're able to just build on friendship. And what's going to happen is the man who has to do the proposing, he's going to fall so in love, head over heels, he's going to go ahead and ask to be exclusive. And now you're exclusive, and now the most you're doing is just kissing, but you're not doing that in a place where you can go to the next step. That may be kissing at the car before you get in. And it may just be lip on lip. You ain't going too far. You ain't doing what the French do. So you just lip on lip, and then you're going about your business. Next thing you know, he goes from being exclusive girlfriend to he wants to get engaged because he's falling head over heels. Now he's engaged, and instead of waiting for a year, he wants to set the wedding date 6 months. If he wants to go to the courthouse because the wedding going to cost so much money, going to put you in debt. Ladies, guess what? Get over the size of the ring and the cost, the budget of the wedding. Put you a rubber band on your finger and go to the courthouse. That's what's hindering a lot of relationships is finances, because we're so worried about the money aspect, and we want this big rock and we want this nice wedding when that has nothing to do with marriage. That's just a ceremony. It's just a tradition. It's just something you go through. But it has nothing to do with the quality of the love. Put you a rubber band on your finger. If the man can't afford a ring, you buy your own ring, and then y'all go to the courthouse if you can't afford a wedding and you don't want to start out your marriage in debt. So do that and go ahead about your business, and what you're going to realize is if you have built on a firm foundation, real love, real friendship, you've paid attention and you've been looking for red flags and you haven't seen any red flags, that's really just glaring, and there's no deal breakers that have shown up. And because you allowed this thing to be built pure without late night visits and rendezvous and physical, things or intercourse or anything sexual, nothing more than a kiss on the lips, then you really have something. And now you're so in love, when you come together in a relationship, you are more compatible sexually because you actually love each other. So now all you have to do is what it was meant to do. You don't have to do any crazy tricks and all swinging from chandeliers. You do what it was meant to do, and it's going to be pleasurable because you have love and because you're all in and because you are committed. See, a lot of people are not pleased in that area because they get there so fast. They get there so fast that love has not been made. So they think that they're making love when they try to do the physical, naked tango. And then they realize that this is not good. This is boring. I wasn't into it. And the reason why is because your mind wasn't into it, because you have not built enough of a relationship. You have not made love, which is quality time and great communication. So that is how you avoid the physical. Put in literal boundaries. No at-home dates. No at-home dates after dark. No, nothing more than a kiss on the lips. All the tongue and all that, not necessary. It is not necessary to catch mono, to get a sore throat, to catch a cold, swapping tongue. It is not necessary. You can save that for when you in the real deal. It is not going to make you like one another anymore. By doing that, you just sharing more germs. So build on real love, real communication, real friendship, a real understanding, and you're going to experience a love that is much, much greater. Thank you so much for submitting those questions. If you have any other questions, please submit it to inbox@tonygaskins.com. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon.